sports fans, and welcome to another Bearcat Sports Update. I'm Ralph Patterson with baseball coach Kermit Smith. And first, you're just coming off three really important non-conference series. You swept Wingate, you swept Carson Newman, you won the series with Erskine, so you've won 7 out of your last 11. That's huge. How you doing it?
Well, we spoke a couple of weeks ago on kind of the mindset behind what we do in the midweek pitching wise, and we've gone to Darren too in the midweek games, and he's just been kind of a boost to our whole program. He's done real good. He's done real good at some of the things we weren't real good at before we started him, and pitching against Erskine and Wingate and Carson Newman, some really good baseball teams, really giving us a boost, and he's been real good out there. We've been swinging the bats pretty well in the midweek. And hopefully we can carry over some of that energy into the weekends and win these last couple of series that we've got left.
Coach, you're 9-8 in the Peach Belt. It's an incredible conference. You have a huge series coming up with Flagler this weekend. Let's talk about that.
Well, it was a real important weekend to us last year. It kind of was. It meant who was going to the tournament and who wasn't, and it was our place. And hopefully we've got kind of a bad taste in our mouth because they came in and took 2 out of 3 from us. Didn't think we played bad, but it's just like the Peach Belt. You come in and you got to be at the top of your game all 3 games, or you'll probably lose the series. We got to do it on the road, which is always tough. It's a good 6-hour trip down to Jacksonville or St. Augustine, and we're looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be tough, just like any team in the Peach Belt. I think you told me before we started this thing that 3 of the 12 teams in the conference have a sub 500 record, so that means 9 out of 12 teams are 500 or better, which I think that speaks to the strength of the league and a lot of implications off of this weekend and how it turns out. And we're looking forward to getting down to St. Augustine and going to work.
Now, with baseball, you got to do the job on the field, but you also have to do the job recruiting. Yeah. And this week is National Letter of Intent Week, so I want to ask you about some recruiting.
Yeah, well, the recruiting, we're 2 for 2 right now in the NLIs that we sent out yesterday. We got one back from an outfielder from Jacksonville, and we got one back from a big-time infielder in the state of South Carolina, which we're real excited about. We got a couple more still out there, so I won't mention any names until we get this class complete. But mixing those with the 3 guys that we got early, we're very excited about it. Once again, this is going to be a small class in comparison to last year, but so far really good.
Okay, now we're still talking recruiting. We're still talking about the Bearcats on the field. You've signed 5 to this point this year. You signed 22 last year. Last year you had a huge series against Flagler that really helped your program. You have a huge series against them this weekend. So let's talk a little different, where you are this year compared to last year, both in recruiting and on the field.
Well, the mindset behind bringing in 22 guys was depth. We needed quality, and we addressed that, and we needed depth. We're at a point in the year. We spoke last week about some of the trials and tribulations you're going through at this point in the season. Everybody's dealing with injuries. I mean, it's just part of college baseball. There's nicks and bruises and serious injuries, season-ending injuries. And if you don't have guys that are competing, not necessarily from a backup role, but guys that are going to jump in there and compete on any given day to help you win a Peach Belt series or help you win a midweek game, then I guess that's kind of our fault. We need to recruit for that. We need to have good depth and good quality depth. So that was kind of the mindset behind 22. The mindset behind a smaller class is just that. That's my belief system. I feel like you need to be balanced in your classes. I think you need to be somewhere between 6 and 9 in each class. That's going to balance out to a pretty good number on your roster. And what it's really going to build is it's going to build consistency because you're not graduating your whole team every year. We've got a heavy laden junior class, and when they graduate, it's going to take a hit on us. And that's the mindset behind us trying to equal out our classes as best we can right now. And you get to that point, and even when you have those real good years, you've got a set of freshmen that are sitting there watching those seniors perform, and when they graduate, or you have a couple of those guys graduate and a couple of guys get drafted out of your junior class, you're still real strong from your freshman through junior class and the class that you're bringing in. So we've got a strong belief system in the balancing classes and everything else. So that's the mindset behind the smaller class this year as opposed to last year. And I think that's the difference on the field. I don't know necessarily what our record was at this point last year. I don't really look at stuff like that, but I know it wasn't 9-8 in the conference, and the difference between this series with Flagler this year and last year is we're in the driver's seat, so we have control of what happens this weekend. As far as they're the ones trying to catch us, and we're not the ones trying to catch them.
We've covered a lot, Coach, and here we'll wrap it up with this. Good luck against Flagler this weekend. Good luck in recruiting. You're still waiting on a couple kids, and you two young men, you need to come to Lander. For Coach Kermit Smith, I'm Ralph Patterson. Join us next time on the Lander Bearcats Sports Update.